If you're between 45 and 70 years old and you're looking at your retirement finances and you're thinking to yourself, uh-oh, well then, welcome to the pre-retirement zone, where retirement stops being an abstract idea and starts becoming math. I actually wrote that. It sounds like AI, but it isn't. Anyway, I'm Dave. And I'm not talking to you about this stage in life because I read it in a book. I'm probably just like you. I'm in my early 60s and I am in the pre-retirement zone too. Now, how did I get here? Probably the same as you. Life happened, right? You worked, you got married, you had kids, you have bills, you have schools, you have orthodontics, you have all these expenses. Maybe, like me, you had some financial reversals along the way, like 2008, anybody? Maybe you had a divorce or two. Maybe inflation is eating away at whatever you managed to save. Maybe you had a giant expense that you had to use the retirement funds to pay for that. Or maybe you fell into the same trap that I fell into, and that is, I always thought I'd have more time. Turns out you don't. You see, we're at a stage in life where if we don't have enough saved for retirement, we can't do it the old-fashioned way. We can't just say, save more money, and then let time compound it. I mean, you could. I mean, if you want to retire 80 or 90 or 100, I don't think I'm making many of those years. So I have to do something different. You probably do too. So before you think you can't do it, I want to let you know you can. It just takes two things. And let me just tell you a story from my own life. It's about one of my kids. I have two kids, and we were going to school one day, middle school. My daughter was a little older, my son's a little younger. And when we got to school, my daughter opened the door and out she bounded. Not a lot necessarily bothered her, but my son had this face on, what I would call his anxiety face. He suffered from anxiety from a very young age. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I said, "What's wrong, buddy? Is there something wrong at school?" And he looked at me and started to cry. And he said, "What am I going to do about college?" Now, I kept it together. It did break my heart, but I wanted to laugh too. Like, what is this sixth grader worried about college for already? There's plenty that's going to happen between now and then. But I pressed him and I said, "What do you mean? What are you going to do about college?" "I don't know if I'll be able to do the work. I don't know what kind of grade I'm going to get. I don't know if I'll understand anything." Like, buddy, come back in the car. And so I did what any dad would do. I went and bought him a donut. Now, donuts don't solve everything. I wish they did because, donuts. But we sat down at the donut shop, the local donut shop, where he and I loved the donuts. And I said, "Okay, buddy, so what are you most worried about?" And he said he was worried about the grades. I'm like, "Why are you worried about the grades? That's the third thing you should worry about." And he was like, "Dad, the third thing? What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, here's the first thing you should worry about, your attitude. You already have a negative attitude. Have a positive one, because you don't know what you can and can't do yet. So don't borrow trouble from the future. Pretend, if you have to, that you think you can do it." And he looked at me and he said, "Okay, I can do that." And he said, "What's number two?" And I said, "Number two is effort. Can't do the work for you. I can't. Nothing can, only you can do the work. You've got to put in the effort." But he was one of those kids that wanted to start a project 5 minutes after it was assigned, so I didn't have to worry about effort, but he understood it. He's like, "Oh, I control the effort. I'm like, yeah, that's right, you do. You decide how much work you want to put into it. And effort plus the good attitude that you start with will become eventually a grade. Now, you don't make the final decision on that grade, but you're certainly responsible, or you certainly add to it. But you are 100% control of your attitude and effort. So if you can put those two things together, the grade's going to be what it's going to be. Let's not worry about that. Let's worry about the first two things, and the grade will follow. And he stopped crying, enjoyed the rest of his donut. I took him back to medical school, I wish. I took him back to middle school, and in he went, and he was fine. And to this day, anytime he comes across a challenge, he'll say, Dad, attitude, effort, the name of the challenge. So that's the same thing for you folks. I'm making a channel here that's going to help you, I hope, make some, understand your retirement finances as well as how you can augment them. But I'm not going to do the work for you. You're going to have to do it. So all I'm asking is that you have a positive attitude about it. I know a lot of people in our cohort say, we don't like AI. Don't have that attitude. You can have a neutral attitude. I wish you'd have a positive attitude because it is pretty good, and I hope to show it to you later. But have that positive attitude. And then again, I'm not going to do the work for you. You're going to have to do it. So you've got to put in the effort. But if you have the right attitude and you put forth the effort, you will make something of it. You will have a solution. And from that solution, hopefully it can make you some money. Now, how am I going to teach you how to do it? Well, I've been in technology a long time. So I've always been good at explaining it to people. I know some people, when they hear a technologist talk, they'll say, well, how do I do this? Tell me what AI is. And that technologist will go, well, here's what it is. It's it sounded like dolphin clicking, didn't it? Well, here we are in a no dolphin clicking zone. I'm going to teach you about tech and AI and new technologies because there'll always be something more. We'll talk about retirement. We'll talk about Social Security. We'll talk about anything that will help us get out of the retirement zone so that we can get retired and stay retired. Now here's what you're not going to get here. There will be no Lamborghini photos. I've driven a Lamborghini. It was nice one time. It was fun. It was loud. It probably drank half the gas tank just going down the street. And I'm not disparaging people who like and own Lamborghinis. It's just not the most important thing for us. Our cohort, we're a little shorter on cash than we thought we'd be at this point in our lives. So no Lamborghinis. Also, no bro talk. I'm not going to get up there and pretend that you can do all this and solve this problem that you've been working on probably since your 20s because you didn't save enough up until your 40s, 50s, 60s, or even 70s. So I'm not going to give you the bro talk. I'm not going to say you're going to go from 0 to $1 million overnight. I'm not going to tell you how I make $30,000 a month in starting from scratch. Now, what was that? It sounded like half the people that were watching the video just logged off because I said it's a little bit of work. You've got to do it. It requires some effort. But here's my promise to you, is that I'm not going to tell you that there are miracles. I mean, there might be miracles in the world, but I can't provide them. So I will be able to provide you information in plain English, so you don't have to translate dolphin clicking into English. And anything that I recommend to you, I'm going to test first on myself, and I'm going to make sure that it works before I ever recommend it for you. And I do promise if I find something that will help us, I'll share it. So does that sound good? then I hope you'll stay around. Anyway, let's not let the young people have all the fun. I'll see you in the next video.